The VapePassion Show, episode 28. All right, welcome back to the VapePassion Show. This is episode 28. I'm recording this on Sunday, August 7th, day before deeming regulations. You'll probably listen to this after, well, I know for sure you'll be listening to this after the deeming regulations because I won't have it up online yet. But so I apologize if I miss any breaking news, but I'm not really expecting any really big things to happen immediately. Dimitris, the Vaping Greek, he has mentioned that he expects shops to get inspections pretty much immediately. This is what happened when the Child Poisoning Prevention Act went into effect a couple of weeks ago. Shops were getting visits same day. So he is expecting that that's going to happen tomorrow too, or on August 8th on Monday. So that's probably going to happen, but I don't think anything else is going to happen right away. I hope not anyway. So this weekend I went to a going away party for a good friend of mine. He's moving to Germany in a couple of weeks. He had expressed some interest in vaping recently to try to quit smoking. So I hooked him up with some stuff before he leaves. I gave him an 18650 battery, an Invader Mini 50 watt mod, a Kanger Subtank Plus, and 3 bottles of e-juice. And I gave that to him on Friday night. He was loving it on Friday while we were all hanging out, and he texted me today, 2 days later, talking about how he's really loving it and he's really excited to have it. So I really hope that helps him quit smoking. Aside from that, the going away party was a really great time. It was just a small group of our close friends, about 7 of us all together. And we played some old school Nintendo and then moved on to some drinking games because some of those guys, they're a lot younger than I am and they're still into college drinking games. It's hard for me to do that stuff, but I did as good as I could. I didn't really get wasted. I limited myself and they were cool with that. They understood because, you know, I have a daughter I have to take care of, a little 2-year-old that I can't be hungover all day on Saturday. All of us were feeling pretty good by the end of the night, and a couple of guys, they got so drunk that they ended up spending the end of their night with their heads in the toilet. It was they got pretty bad, but it was funny. My friend who's moving to Germany, he's also selling a bunch of his stuff, and he sold me his Xbox One for really cheap. So I bought it. I used to be a huge console gamer, but I haven't really played video games ever since my daughter was born 2.5 years ago. So I'm totally out of touch with what games are really good right now. So if any of you guys out there are gamers, please send me some recommendations because I really want to pick up a new game that I know is good. You know, some kind of 5-star game. When I was playing games regularly, my favorites were games like first and third person shooters or action adventures, RPGs. I've already started playing Battlefield Hardline because that was installed on the system already. It's about a year old, so a year and a half old actually. So it's a little old in the gaming world, but I've been playing it and I've been having fun. So yeah, let me know if you guys have recommendations. So like I mentioned, my friend is moving to Germany, so I posted questions on e-cigaretteforum.com. I asked if there are any laws that my friend needs to be aware of because I wanted to know before I gave him all that stuff because I would really hate to give him that stuff and then have it confiscated at the airport. So that's basically the question I posed, and I got a really good answer from someone named Woida. I don't know how you pronounce this name, but he or she lives in Germany. So this is a German resident, and he mentioned that the TPD stuff applies for sales only, so my friend is good to bring in anything that he wants into Germany for his personal use. There's no limit in volume as far as he's aware of. Nic level is limited to 24 milligrams in some states, but not all. And like you mentioned before, that is for sales only, so they're not going to confiscate that at the airport. The EU is active in Germany, and the restrictions only apply to new stuff until a grace period, which he believes is May 2017. So everything is still available there to buy. Nothing new is allowed to be introduced unless it's signed off by some agency, but it seems like nobody cares, he says. New products keep entering the market on a daily basis. Online sales are still legal as well, with German vendors employing a double age check. One while ordering, which is done online, and one that's done by the mailman who delivers your package. So yeah, it's good to know if you are a resident living outside of the EU and plan to visit somewhere within the EU, then you know that you're good to bring in pretty much whatever you want because the TPD stuff only applies to sales currently. All right, and then as for some news about the regulations, vaping.org, which is the American Vaping Association, they published a post saying August 8th, 2016, what does it mean for vaping? So this is basically a rundown of what vape shops and vapors can expect after the deeming regulations take effect on Monday. If you're new to vaping and you don't know what's going on, August 8th is when deeming regulations take effect. That means vaping products are considered tobacco products. The way the FDA has worded everything, it means anything related to vaping. It could be wire, it could be coils, tanks, whatever. The big keyword there is intent. If the intent is to use it for vaping, it will be classified as a tobacco product. So that rule, by the time you listen to this, will be in effect. And now, moving forward, we have a 2-year grace period to get all vaping products approved by the FDA to be sold. We don't know what is going to be approved, and we don't expect hardly anything to be approved. It's expected that practically nothing will exist by August 8th, 2018, 2 years from now. But there are a lot of lawsuits going on, so hopefully we can get this turned around. All right, so what's kind of covered under the FDA's rule? Like I mentioned, pretty much everything and anything related to vaping. Even nicotine-free and synthetic nicotine products are considered tobacco products. As of August 8th, no new products will be allowed to enter the market. And not only are manufacturers not allowed to bring in or release new products or flavors, devices, coils, anything like that, they also can't make any modifications to an existing product, because any variation, nicotine levels, bottle sizes, flavor amounts, the ingredients you use in your e-juice, any change to a current product will result in what the FDA will be considering a new product that will be illegal to sell without pre-approval. Something to keep in mind here, though, is that the FDA can stop innovation from happening in the United States, but they can't stop it from happening throughout the rest of the world. And there are a lot of other vapors in the world. And as long as companies are making products, there are going to be gray and black markets. So it might be hard for vape shops to get some of these products in, brick and mortars, but it's probably not going to be all that hard for individual vapors to order it and get it shipped to our homes. It doesn't seem like vaping is going to change a whole lot. All right, so the deeming regulations also bring a law that requires no sales to anyone under the age of 18. This is already a law in 48 states of the U.S., but the FDA regulation adds a new requirement that requires anyone appearing under the age of 27 must present photo identification. For online sales, age verification is also required. A lot of times you go to a vape site of an online vape store and you'll see a checkbox saying, how old are you? That's not adequate anymore. If you own a vape store, you have to use an official age verification. I've heard a lot of shops are using something called Blue Check, so that's one. I don't know of any others, but yeah, you need a real age verification platform moving forward. Some age verification platforms do require submission of a photo ID. So you might have to scan your ID and send it to a vape shop if you want to order something. I got an email from one vape shop, and unfortunately I can't remember who it is now, but they mentioned that they found a different platform to use that doesn't require submitting a photo. So I don't know. You'll just have to look around if you own a shop. But I know a lot of people are unhappy with that in regards to identity theft and things like that. Okay, no modifications of products. So as far as brick and mortar shops go, that means things like connecting a tank to a battery, screwing in a coil, building coils for people who don't know how to build their own coils. You can't fill a tank with e-liquid. These tasks can't be performed by retailers anymore because that constitutes manufacturing. Employees cannot physically manipulate any product. Another change you can expect is no more free samples. This is something, if you go to a brick and mortar shop, you'll be very familiar with. Sampling e-juices. It will still be allowed, but shops now have to charge a fee. It doesn't even matter if it's zero nicotine e-juice. According to this article on vaping.org, they recommend charging a per visit sampling fee of $1, including sale tax, if applicable, and assigning a SKU to the fee, which they believe is reasonable and likely to stand up to scrutiny. So these regulations also prohibit claims of modified risk. That means that it can't exist on a labeling, advertising, and employees can't say these things to customers. For example, an employee can't say that the primary purpose of an electronic cigarette is to provide a safer alternative to smoking. They can't say that electronic cigarettes do not contain tobacco, even though they don't. You can't say it anymore. Electronic cigarettes contain much lower levels of carcinogens, which they do, but you can't say it. And you can't say that electronic cigarette use is much safer than smoking, even though it's totally true. And then the American Vaping Association, they also mentioned that the next big deadline will be coming up on December 31st of this year, 2016. And that's when manufacturers, including importers, must register their establishments and individual products with the FDA. There's no fee associated with filling these registrations, but they can be time consuming. So if you are a manufacturer or vape shop, you need to make sure you understand how that process is going to work. All right, so let's talk about some new products. If you've seen the latest Plumes of Hazard episode, I think it was the latest, it might have been the week before, they're expecting to launch a new e-juice. I believe they said that it should be available on gaslightvapors.com or gaslightvapor.com on August 12th, on Friday. They are expecting it to cost $15 per bottle or for a 30 mil or $45 for a 120 mil. And it's only going to be available on gaslightvapor.com, so keep an eye out for that. And Wismec just announced the release of the Noisy Cricket 2-25, I think is how you say it. So this one is really interesting. It looks sort of similar to the original Noisy Cricket, but now you're able to switch it between series and parallel. And the benefit of that would be that if you want to use series, you can get your whole 8 volts that your batteries can provide, so a lot of power. If you want to go in parallel, then you get 4.2 volts, which is decent enough, but a lot longer battery life. So you can use it in whichever mode you want now. It also comes with multiple circuit protection systems, so it makes it safer now. Some of the new protections it's offering now is atomizer protection, short circuit protection, and low voltage protection. So it's not necessarily a mech mod anymore. If you switch the mode to series, you have 2 modes available to you. That would be direct output mode and constant voltage output mode. So direct output mode would be just like what I'm assuming to be a mech mod. You get whatever power is available in your batteries. So 8.4 volts. Or probably a little bit less than that with voltage sag and stuff like that. But still, if you go to constant voltage output mode, because now it has a switch, so you can set the voltage. The output voltage can be adjusted anywhere between 2 volts to 6 volts. And so in that mode, you'll still be getting more power than you would in parallel, but you're not getting the full power of your batteries. And it also makes sure that you stay at a voltage that you like, rather than it dipping up and down. It seems like they have some sort of chip in here that does make it safer, like you can turn it off, which you couldn't do with the original Noisy Cricket because there was no lock ring or anything like that, and it was just a hybrid mech. You can't just turn it off like you can a regulated mod. Wismec's website does claim that you can turn it off now. It seems like it could be really good as long as Wismec doesn't use their really crappy 510 that they use on their other products like the Rouleau. They probably are going to, though. I would assume so, because that's what they're using on all their stuff. So that's one big drawback to this one. Something else some of you guys out there might like is that now it's 25 millimeter width. So a lot of people didn't like on the original Noisy Cricket how thin it was because a lot of atomizers would hang over. So at 25 millimeters, you can now fit 24 and 25 millimeter RDAs, and they won't overhang. They'll look good. As for the way it's handling voltage and things like that, no one's really sure yet how it's doing that. Some people believe it might have a kick in it, and if that's the case, it's expected to have pretty poor performance and really bad battery life, because that's what happens with mechs with kicks in them. Other people are saying it might be a pulse width modulation type control with a bypass, and a lot of people do say that pulse width modulation mods are pretty good. No one seems to know anything much about these right now, so we're just gonna have to wait for it to come out and wait for some reviews to start rolling out. But it looks pretty good. It looks actually a lot bigger than the original Noisy Cricket, so if that's something that you liked about the original, you might not like this one. You might, I don't know. It still looks pretty clean. VapeSourcing.com has them on sale for $28.90, so pretty good price. And then another product I want to talk about is another Wismec product. This is the Rouleau RX 2/3. What's really cool about this one is I've always really wanted a Rouleau. I don't have one. But what's cool about this is now it's pretty. It looks like it's the exact same thing as the Rouleau, the RX 200, except for that now you can either use 3 batteries or 2 batteries. It has 2 different battery covers, replaceable back covers, so that you can do your choice of 2 or 3 batteries. If you use it with 2 batteries, they say that the maximum output power will be 150 watts. And if you use 3 cells, it will be 200 watts like normal. You are able to charge the device by connecting it to a computer or wall adapter using a USB cable, but they specifically say on their own website that it's better to take the cells out and charge them with an external charger, and that's what most people recommend, and that's what I do with all of my batteries. So really nothing new here. There's a lot of different colors. There's cyan, red, black, gold, white, and gray. And what's interesting about this is it brings up a really interesting question that I didn't think about before, but Battery Mooch just published a post on Phil Basardo's website, tasteyourjuice.com, and this one is marrying batteries for the Rouleau RX 2/3. And as most of you know, when you're using a dual battery mod, you should marry those batteries. They should be brand new and used together all the time. They can be used in different mods, but they should always be used together. And that's to make sure that they're both at the same levels all the time. They have the same discharge rates, so that one battery isn't discharged a lot more than the other, which could eventually lead to one failing. So anyway, with this new Rouleau RX 2/3, that means now that some people might have a set of 3 batteries and they want to take one out to switch it to 2 batteries. Well, that's going to discharge unevenly if you put that third one back in. So basically what Mooch recommends here is to rotate the batteries. Remove a different battery from the set each time you switch between 2 or 3 batteries. Makes sense and pretty easy. Personally, I'd know that I'd forget which battery to remove, so my best bet would be to have 2 sets of batteries. A married set of 2 and a married set of 3. That way I just make sure that I never accidentally forget to rotate those batteries, because I know it would happen with me. Alright, and now I want to talk about another product. This is called the Sync. I actually saw the Plumes of Hazard guys talking about this one, but I've seen other people talking about it too, and this is a Sigalike very similar to the Juul, the PAX Juul. This is 100% American and created by Vape Forward, the guys who create the Vapor Flask, the well-known Vapor Flask. So these guys know what they're doing here. The Sync, it comes in 3 versions. There's a micro battery, so this one is more like the Juul. This one has a capacity of 200 milliamp hours, and then there's a standard battery. This kind of looks more like a box mod, but still takes the cartridges, and this is 380 milliamp hour. And then there's the Stealth battery, which is just like a larger size of the original, of the micro battery. That one can take either a 1.5 milliliter or a 2.5 milliliter pod. If it vapes anything like the Juul, I'm assuming people are going to be pretty happy with it, because everyone seems to love the Juul. But if you haven't heard of the Juul, you spell that Juul in case you're looking for it. But what makes these guys different is that their e-juices, unlike Juul, because Juul only has I think 4 flavors or 5 flavors, something like that. Well, Sync, these pods that they're creating are using really big name brands like Beard Vape, 5 Ponds, Cutwood, Space Jam, Cosmic Fog, and I think this article says that they have something like 68 different flavors. So yeah, there's a lot of different flavors there, and they come in 6, 12, 18, 24, and 36 milligram nicotine strengths. And compared to the Juul, which only has 1 nicotine strength, I believe. I think it's either 36 or 56, something like that. So the starter kit is really cheap. That small battery, 380 milliamp hour battery, you can get that with a 1.5 milliliter pod and a USB cable for only $17.99, so $18. But what gets expensive are the refill pods. 4 2.5 milliliter pods also cost $18. So that's where they get you. But if it's anything like the Juul, you know, people love them so much that you might really enjoy it and might find it that's worth that cost. It looks like a pretty cool product to me. And then one last product I want to talk about, and this one is from Geek Vape. They're getting into squonkers. There really isn't a whole lot known about it. I see the product specs. I don't even know what it's called actually. Oh, it will be called the G-Box S100, but it will have temperature control modes. It will go to 1 to 100 watts. Can handle 0.05 to 1.5 ohm builds in temperature control, and 0.1 to 3.0 ohms for variable wattage. It takes 2 18650 batteries and has a pretty nice screen, and from what people are saying, it should cost around $65. And if you've had any Geek Vape products, people tend to be pretty happy with them, so it seems like this could be a good product to have, and a really good entry level into squonking. Alright, now I want to talk about this thread I came across on ecigaretteforum.com, which other people have been getting too, similar emails. This email comes from Essential Depot, and they sent out a notice that they're going to have to raise their VG and PG prices due to FDA regulations. Not necessarily having anything to do with the regulations themselves, but the announcement of the regulations is causing a spike in sales, mainly because demand is going nuts because people are stocking up on everything just in case they're not able to get it once these regulations go into effect. So VG and PG is raising in prices. It's still fairly inexpensive, but something you can expect with a lot of products probably moving forward. It really just depends on what we see after the regulations have taken effect and have been in place for a while. If we start seeing that it gets harder to buy things, you can expect prices to skyrocket. And someone actually mentions this later on in the thread, that this is the same thing happening with ammunition, especially as we get closer and closer to the elections, because pro-gun people, they're worried that their guns are going to get taken away, or types of ammo are going to get taken away. So they're stocking up, and that's causing a big spike in demand, and it's raising the prices. Okay, so this next section I want to talk about RDAs that work well with series hybrid mods. No, not necessarily series, but hybrid mods. Things like the Noisy Cricket. Not so much the new Noisy Cricket, because that one has a 510 connection, so you can pretty much use any RDA on that one now, it seems. But if you have an older Noisy Cricket or hybrid mech mod of some sort, I'm going to go through a list of some RDAs that I've been doing some research on that have been confirmed to work well with hybrid mods. That means that they have extended 510s so that they can reach the battery safely. So there's the Derringer, Mutation X series RDAs, pretty much any of them, the Doge series RDAs, Plume Veal, the Freak Show Mini, and the full-size Freak Show, Tugboat V2, Mephisto, the Kennedy, the Production RDA from Flawless, the Mad Hatter Mini, the Limitless RDA, the Royal Hunter Mini, the Velocity Mini, the CCI Archon, the Petrie, the Sub-Zero, the Phenotype L, the Double Vision, the Hobo version 3.1, and the clone from Fastech, the Hattie, the Goon and the Goon clone, the Twisted Messes version 2, the Fogwind Alliance V2, Watofo's The Troll V2, and of course the Wismic Jabo Indestructible, which just everyone purchased with the Noisy Cricket mostly. So yeah, there's a really good list of RDAs that will work well on hybrid mech mods. If you want a mech mod, consider checking out one of those RDAs. Alright, and there really wasn't a whole lot of news in the past week, so I'm cutting this episode short. I've actually been thinking about doing a lot shorter episodes like this one, because not only would it be easier for me, but I think I get the feeling that people aren't listening to the podcast all the way through or watching the vlogs all the way through, especially on YouTube. It might be a little bit different with the podcast, but at least on YouTube, people just aren't getting all the way through the videos. Let me know what you think about these shorter episodes, if you your preferred method of listening, and how far you usually get through. If you listen to the podcast and you like if you like them to be longer, let me know that. If you listen to the YouTube and you like them to be longer, or if you'd like them to be shorter, let me know. And I definitely like to implement some of those recommendations into the show moving forward. So yeah, that's it. That's going to do it for this episode. So you'll find the show notes on VapePassion.com. Just search for episode 28. And if you want to support the show, consider donating to my Patreon page. You'll find that at patreon.com/VapePassion. You can also follow me on Twitter @VapePassion. I'm also on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe to me on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play if you watch me on YouTube. If you're one of my podcast listeners and you want to actually see pictures of the things I'm talking about, I add those to all of my vlog videos, so you can check that out on YouTube. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, you can email me, alex@vapepassion.com, or just comment on one of my videos on YouTube and I'll respond. So that's it. I hope to see you all next week.